Coming up on Network Africa. Thousands of university students in South Africa protest proposed tuition fee hike by the government as they threaten to shut down all the country's universities. Nearly 700 Al-Shabaab recruits quit the militant group as they return to Kenya for reintegration. And 4 killed, many injured in Congo's capital, Brazzaville, as protest against President Nguezo's third-term bid enters day 2. Hello and welcome to Network Africa. I am Adeshewa Josh. Well, they gathered in their thousands, students of universities from across South Africa, chanting and waving placards in protest of a government-proposed tuition fee hike of between 10 to 12%. As we speak, the protest is reportedly spreading across the country as students barricade roads, burning tires and lying on the expressway as a sign of total refusal to the government's proposal. They are threatening to close all the country's universities as protesters complain that these higher fees may exclude poorer black students. At least 10 institutions have so far been affected, with some closing until the situation is resolved. They are calling for the free education as was promised by the ruling African National Congress when it took over power from the apartheid government. But Education Minister Blade Nzimande has said the government is not able to afford free education for poor students. Joining me now to discuss this further is Betty Dibia, Channels TV correspondent. She joins us from Johannesburg. Thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. What a day it's been in South Africa. We understand the protest is spreading.
What a day. What a past few days as well.
Exactly. What is the latest? What are we hearing?
The latest thing, you heard the students, I'm sure you did, earlier in Cape Town, as students of the University of Cape Town, chanting, "We want Blade." They wanted the minister to come out from the parliament to address them. He tried. His voice is not quite loud, and the public speaking thing they gave him, it wasn't quite working, so that didn't work out. And the students shouting drowned him out. Yesterday or so, he addressed a press conference where he said probably they will cap the fee hike, which most universities place at 10.5%, 12.5% for medical students, to cap it at 6%, not more than that. But the students are saying they want 0% increase, at least for 2016, and they're not accepting anything. Right now, what started last Wednesday at the University of the Witwatersrand has now spread to about 15 universities across 8 provinces. We have 9 provinces in South Africa. So that's what you wouldn't want to keep quiet. I was at the University of Pretoria, which had a mild demonstration earlier today, but that didn't stay for too long because there were a series of meetings going on with the students' representatives and probably the authorities there. But the students are not backing out, and it is spreading. They're likening that to the Arab Spring, and it's hashtag must fall right now in South Africa.
I mean, you can understand why they're saying it's a 0 increment that they want, because this was promised, according to them, that the ruling African National Congress, when it took power, promised free education. Why do you think the South African government is reneging on this promise at this time?
Free tertiary education is quite tricky. It's quite, you have so many aspects of tertiary education. I don't know how sustainable it would be to have totally free tertiary education. Researchers have to be funded, and so many other aspects of schooling. To them here, they feel there are many students who can't afford it. Their bodies, apart from the scholarships that some institutions give, there are bodies that provide student bursaries, and it's called NAFA, something like that, and provide student loans. But they're saying added with inflation, and it's quite a lot. Like for a medical student, the one whom we spoke with yesterday said, if we were paying 50,000 a year as a medical student, then we have the 12.5 increase. By the time I'm through with medical school, I'm going to be owing about 800,000 rand, which is an equivalent of about 10.5 million naira. That is not something you can pay off, because there are people who send you to school who are also expecting you to help the family when you're out. And that is when you get a job immediately after school. So the body that is providing the loans and the budget is losing quite a lot, because quite a number of people are yet to pay back what they've been given. And it's just bringing up the call for a more creative way of funding universities across the world, really, or let's say across Africa. It's a more creative way of funding. Probably the private sector can help, because it's not something government can do alone. Even if the government is totally funding early education, but tertiary education may be tricky to be totally free.
Right. And so, I mean, they have taken this protest to the parliament. We understand that earlier parliamentary session was interrupted by members of the Economic Freedom Fighters Party who were chanting fees must fall. Has the South African government addressed this situation? Because it appears that these students are not going to back down anytime soon.
Well, I know a series of meetings are going on. The EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, tried to put a vote through to at least put on hold the presentation of the finance minister and Chancellor Nene. He also touched on this issue where he said providing it's important that disruption is not okay, but strengthening student financing is very important in a country such as this. You have a lot of people who can't actually afford tertiary education, and it is a right. Some say it's a privilege, but it is a right. People need to be educated as well. So the government, the vote didn't go through because Chancellor Nene finished his presentation, touched on the economy, which there are issues here and there, and he touched on the issue of the students as well, the fee issue. Just have more ways of strengthening student financing as well.
Let's look at the way forward here. Right. Go ahead.
Forward is negotiation. Probably, we don't know who's going to blink first, but the students are not backing down at this point. But there are series of meetings going on right now among the student bodies, university authorities, because the fee hike was not brought about by the government. Government subsidizes some of these universities. But we know there are issues with regard to government subsidy as well. And the universities have been told they have to find more ways to fund the school so that it won't be placed on the students. If every year you have to raise fees by 10% or 10.5%, it's not sustainable for many people, and many people may drop out of school. But negotiations are going on. We don't know. We haven't heard the president speak. But maybe in the next few days. But some schools have closed off classes for the rest of this week, and we don't know what's going to happen next week, but we're watching.
Well, yeah, absolutely, we are watching. That's the word. Thank you so much, Betty, there for us, speaking to us from Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a short break on Network Africa. And with today's referendum, we will have the latest from the capital, Brazzaville.